What's going on? It's Go Hollywood here, and today I'm going to be playing a deck in Historic Best of 1 ranked. We made it to Mythic. Now, before I get into this deck, which you can see in front of you here, I just want to talk about something really quick. So, I like to watch a lot of other streamers, and a couple of streamers I'd noticed this month were kind of struggling with something. So, Covert Go Blue, CGB, and Titans Fan, they both had expressed a bit of pressure that they were feeling to constantly get to Mythic. And I myself felt that this month. Having to climb to Mythic month after month after month, sometimes it can be exhausting because sometimes you just hit these pockets of wins and losses, and sometimes when you're in that pocket of losing, it just feels like you just can't win, you can't do anything, and it kind of gets a little bit depressing. But usually those fade, and as you trudge through, you hit those pockets of winning, and that counterbalances that kind of terrible feeling you feel from losing and losing and losing by winning and winning, and it brings an excitement. But I just wanted to express that I was kind of feeling a bit pressured myself. So I'm curious, please leave a comment in the comment section and tell me, is it important to you as a viewer to see your favorite streamers or just any streamer at that mythic level? Me personally, when I would watch streams, I really thought that credibility was shown by a streamer's ability to be in that mythic ranking. But there are streamers out there that don't get to that mythic level. They just like to stream things for fun. They just play in unranked. So please leave a comment if you believe that your streamer should be in mythic and you want to see them play in ranked all the time, or do you like to watch fun decks? You know, decks like the Shrine deck, or any deck that does cool things and has cool synergies, but isn't quite good enough to play in a competitive setting. So with that, let's jump into the deck. I'm playing a deck I'm calling Demonic Embrace. So one of the first decks to hit Mythic at this month, the start of this month, was a deck that was playing basically a 2-card combination. Very aggressive. It was playing Rotting Regisaur and Demonic Embrace. So the combination of the two, you put a Demonic Embrace on a Rotting Regisaur, who's a 7/6. On turn 4, you hit for 10, and on turn 5, they die. So turn 5 kill, now this was in Standard though, mind you. I'm going to try this in Historic, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult to pull off, but I want to see how good it is in Historic. But the combination of that caught people off guard, and now Demonic Embrace is a card that's a lot more known. It's what I've heard sometimes called as the Black Rancor, and Demonic Embrace gives your creature +3/+1 flying. It's a demon. That's not really important, but what's important here is you may cast it by paying 3 life and discarding a card, and you can get it from your graveyard. So if you had to pitch a Demonic Embrace with Rotting Regisaur trigger, or if you just milled over it, which I'll show you in a second what we're doing, you can get it back later on. So another creature that is really good to put a Demonic Embrace on is Kroxa. So if you have good mill capabilities, you can get Kroxa into your yard, and I've consistently cast it on turn 4. So on turn 5, we have a 9 power creature swinging in that deals 3 damage depending on what our opponent pitches. So Kroxa gets into the yard by Mire Tritons, which are great blockers. They have Death Touch. They also gain us 2 life and buy us a little bit of time. And Stitcher Supplier. Stitcher Supplier mills 3 cards, and when it dies, it also mills an additional 3. So with the combination of those, with Tamric Calls the Dead, we're milling a lot, so we can get our Croxes and our Demonic Embraces into our yard, but we can bring them back. Also, Stitcher Supplier, Mire Triton are both zombies. So we have actually quite a bit of life gain. So when we can get our Tamrits to the third saga chapter, or counter if you will, we can gain life and scry, not including the zombies that it produces itself. So we also have Priest of Forgotten Gods, which is also really good in this deck because it provides creature-based removal, it draws cards, it ramps us, and we can sacrifice our zombie tokens if need be, or our Stitcher suppliers to make us mill 3 extra cards. We're playing Cat Oven, so Cauldron Familiar and Witch's Oven for more life gain and just more graveyard shenanigans and inevitability. We're playing Knight of the Ebon Legion, which is really good with Demonic Embrace because Knight of the Ebon Legion says for 3 mana, 2 colors black, it gets +3/+3, gains Death Touch until end turn, but at the beginning of your end step, if a player lost 4 or more life, put a 1/1 counter on the Knight. So with Demonic Embrace, it pumps its power up to 4, gives it flying, so it's able to pump itself without having to sink mana into it every turn. The mana base, pretty simple. Even though I'm playing a Croxa and I'm playing an escape card, I'm not playing Fabled Passage because we have enough mill triggers in the deck that we don't need to. And we don't want to have Fabled Passage in our opening hand because we want to be able to play the majority of our cards, our lands, untapped. Because we want to curve out really hard. And so I'm playing 3 Castle Lockwing to draw additional cards. We have a lot of life gain in the deck, so losing a bit of life to have card advantage isn't that big of a deal. 9 Swamps, 2 Mountains. Only playing 2 Mountains because Crocs is our only red card. 4 Blood Crypt and 4 Dragon Skull Summit. So let's dive into some matches and see how it does. Okay, so we have a lot of enablers with our supplier, Mire Tritons. So we're going to get to mill a bunch. We do have 1 red source already, so with the second one, if we hit a Croxa, then we can play it on curve. So we're going to keep this. It's not a great hand, but it's a good start. Because I don't have an Oven if I'm playing against a red deck, I don't want to lead with the Familiar, so we want to lead with the Stitcher Supplier. Mire Triton as well, having Death Touch and some life gain is going to buy some time to look for our bigger threats. And also, we do have the mana already to play a Demonic Embrace if we end up milling it. Opponent might have lost connection. They're taking quite a while for their first land. They might be playing a very aggro deck and deciding what they want to do. Surprised their timer hasn't started to go yet. Okay, so it seems like our opponent is back with us. Mono white life gain is going to be really difficult. They have no pressure yet, so I'm going to shock this in. It doesn't matter. They're not going to block. Generally, you want to attack first there. Because they're going to want the Soul Warden triggers for whatever they play next. Mire Triton, if they play in a Johnny's Pride Mate, will block it all day long. We do have enough cards already in our bin to cast a Kroxa if we hit, and that's what I mean. This deck mills itself so much, we just don't need Fabled Passage. Okay, so really what we're looking for here is just red mana and Kroxa, so we can get it onto the battlefield, get the Embrace on it. If I don't hit it next turn, I'm just going to cast the Embrace anyways onto something and start pressuring in the air. The Mire Triton will hold back this Pride Mate for a while. Okay, there is a Regisaur, so that's exactly what we want to equip it onto. Now it makes us discard a card, and we do have to discard a card with the Embrace, so we're going to play the Regisaur, and we're just going to say go. We will draw a card that we can pitch, but we want to see what it is. And there's no point in playing another black source. Okay, so Elseed is going to give a Johnny Pro Black, so that's now going to be able to hit for 11. They're going to burn it here, so we're going to pitch the land, and we might have to play out this Triton, unfortunately. That's definitely fine. Okay, so we'll play out our Triton. We might as well just play out the cat. Like I said, we're going to discard whatever we draw anyways to the Embrace. The Regisaur trigger will happen first. Okay, so our opponent has a bunch of life. Without finding some removal, they're going to start making a bunch of blockers. Yeah, just really good draws by our opponent here. So that's going to keep them from Speaker of the Heavens being able to make 4/4s that will block our Regisaur. So we have to hope that they can't gain at least 6 life this turn. That's 2. That's 3. Tamaret is actually going to gain us a bunch of life. But unfortunately, we're just going to be dead. The Sajani is going to kill us next turn. So we were really close. This L-Seed ended up just winning them the game. If he didn't have that... Oh, wow. Well, that was a big misplay. We're just going to chump block that. If we find... I don't think I have any main deck removal besides Priest, and that's not going to do it to deal with this Ajani. Okay, there's another Embrace. If I put the Embrace on a zombie, they must just not understand how L-Seed works. Otherwise, we'd be dead. We would have been dead last turn. So if they don't figure it out, I'm gonna play the Embrace on a zombie so it can at least block this Healer Hawk. Well, he's gonna get to gain a bunch of life here. Again, he didn't L-Seed. And now we're just gonna get to kill it. I'm not honestly sure what's happening here, but I am not going to complain. Yeah, I mean... Well, there's a Croxa, so if we hit a red land, we can just cast it. They're at 19. Let's see here. We don't want that, or that, or that. A priest is interesting. Okay, now they're starting to chump with their stuff. They don't have protection for this Ajani. Unless they're just trolling and they have... Okay. Okay. Well, I have to kill the Ajani.
I hope we meet again soon.
Maybe they're just... It's a human, so they could have fight as one, I suppose? Well, I did nothing there to win that game. I should not have won that game, but I will take it. Well, we have the mini combination of Witch's Oven and Familiar, so that's usually keep. We have a Knight, so and we can Demonic Embrace onto the Knight, so I like this hand a lot. Hello. Don't know what they're playing again. I usually lead with the Witch's Oven in case they're playing red. We don't want the Familiar taking a shock or any piece of removal to the face. Thirst for meaning. This zombie infestation. Okay. Night is out. Here comes familiar. Really hoping to draw land so we can demonic embrace. If not, we have Priest of Forgotten Gods as a backup. Can't forget our triggers. You can lose a game by missing one trigger, so always remember those triggers. Well, there's the third land. And now Knight is going to pump himself. So 5 can pump for 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So our opponent will be at 2 life after next turn if nothing happens. All right. 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 10. What are we going to do here? I think I want to just play out. Well, we have him dead in 2 no matter what we do, so... Opponent might have a response here. Fabled Passage doesn't mean anything. The land comes untapped, but they still could have a 2-mana spell. They don't. So we're just going to rely on this Cauldron Familiar to finish the game off if they have any type of sweep effect. Perfect. We're on the play. We have Double Stitcher Supplier to fuel for Croxa. We don't have the red yet. Also Mire Triton. But we have Priest of the Forgotten Gods for turn 2. So this is a keep. Oh no. Well, unfortunately there goes one of our red lands. We're not blocking. Hopefully no shock, or there's a Wizard's Lightning, so we're really going to need to establish some sort of larger creature body here, otherwise we could be in trouble. A Goblin Chain Whirler is really good against us in this situation. It will kill our entire board. If they don't have a Goblin Chain Whirler, yeah. So unfortunately, just a little slow from us and a little quick by them. Well, that's something. And that's also a 2-turn clock. Okay, so with them attacking with the Chain Whirler here, they could have a lot of things. Ember Cleave, 3-mana burn spell. We're going to block it anyways, because we're just really dead either way. They have Castle Embrith, so that's 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, we just have to go... oh no, because we have to pay 3 life for the Embrace. So we can't even play it. Land, and then just pass the turn. Hopefully we can draw into some life gain. This Lavamancer is going to start to slowly chip away at us. Oh wow, opponent just going all in on us. So that's going to prevent 1 damage for next turn. Unfortunately, we have to just draw cards and lose a little bit of life here. We can't attack. We have no pressure against them. Yeah, we're just dead. Close. We were really close. We have a Witch's Oven. We don't have a cat, but we potentially can find one off a supplier or Triton. We have a Knight. I like this hand a lot. There's the Demonic Embrace. Abzan colors us, so I don't know exactly what that means. So we're going to lead off with something we can attack with. Four colors so far, so it could be some sort of Field of the Dead deck. Yeah, exactly. So they play Shatters. Demonic Embrace going over top could be good for us. That's a lot of white mana, so we just have to get pressure going and hope this Knight can carry us all the way, otherwise we're probably dead. Turn 2 and 3 ramp is really good by our opponent. If they have another piece of ramp here, especially something that ramps them twice. Blast Zone is really good. Kills both of our cards. So, a cute thing here is we get to end step the Familiar and then we get to equip the Embrace onto it, so we can actually start swinging in. We'll pitch our Crocs as well. Okay. 2 more turns. Even if they kill the familiar, we can bring it back and do it again. Okay, there was that piece of ramp, so they're going to be able to start creating zombies. But what we're going to do here is we're going to start creating zombies of our own. Okay, I like our odds. They would need an Ugin here. Actually, even an Ugin would do it because it would exile the Demonic Embrace. Unfortunately.
No, by excellent timing. No, I am not making this up as I go.
That's fine. Uro's annoying here. Now we can't because they gain the life off of it. So we're not going to block because we will gain life off of these later. Our opponent doesn't have enough cards to get Uro. So that's 5. So they would need a growth spiral. So we have a couple options here. I'm going to go with the Kroxa because Kroxa is going to be the biggest, and when we want to kill them next turn, we can just go over top and kill them. What else do we have in here? What am I missing? No attacks. So our opponent's going to go to 8, but Kroxa with Demonic Embrace hits for 9. So the best thing for our opponent here is to have a sweeper. If they shatter the sky and then Uro, that's a problem. Well, they didn't shatter the sky, so
I've done the hero thing before.
if they can't deal with Kroxa, they're dead. And what's our opponent's last card? Yes! Always feels good to beat Field of the Dead. Okay, closing thoughts. This deck was awesome. It's a ton of fun. Graveyard Hate is really good against us, but in best of one, most decks aren't playing main deck Graveyard Hate. It's definitely something that's generally more of a sideboard card. But what's really good about this deck is you get to buy time with your Cauldron Familiars and your Witch's Ovens. We didn't even get to kill anyone with our Priest of the Forgotten Gods. We were killing people by Demonic Embrace and milling into it. When we were playing our Stitcher Suppliers, our Mire Tritons, our Tamric Calls the Dead, we milled our Croxes, our Demonic Embraces, and we're able to hit with it. Even a Demonic Embrace on the Knight was awesome, on a Rotting Regisaur. Surprisingly, having 10 sources of red didn't feel like it was quite enough for Croxa, and we really are kind of aggressive more on the turn 3, 4, 5, so perhaps actually one or two Fabled Passages just to help a little bit with the fixing to make sure we can cast Crocs on turn 4 a little bit more consistency might be better. I'm going to try it out. But I'm going to leave it there. I hope you all enjoyed this video. See you next time.